Hello, everyone. I'm coming back today to read Daniel chapter 7. And it talks about the vision of the four beasts. Daniel chapter 7. So, the way the chapter is, it talks about the end time as well as Revelation chapter 13. It talks about the beast. It explains who the beast, what the beast is about, and about the end time. And God was showing him, giving him a brief little vision of the end time. So to read Daniel, you have to read the book of Revelation. To understand Daniel, you have to read the book of Revelation, at least chapter 13. In chapter 13 and chapter 14, it talks about the beast. And it talks about, chapter 13, chapter 13 and chapter 12, all of them, they talk about the beast. I think it goes up to chapter 18 and 19. And it talks about the beast. It explains the beast and explain what it's about. It's kingdom. Okay? So we're going to read in here. But God, He's trying to give you a message. He's trying to give all of us a message to try to get things right, to try to, get our life right. He's given us a lot of time to come back to Him, because the way the world perceives God, and they fuss about who He is and His name and what Jesus did. They really, don't believe in Jesus, and some people don't believe in God, and all that. And that's all satanic doing. When people think and talk like that, they are possessed with a demonic spirit that don't want you to know the truth, that don't want people to know the truth, because what they know, if they know about the Word of God, they would spread the gospel of Jesus and the gospel of God. But because they don't know, they're blinded by Satan's wicked scheme. He's not they're not able to see the true God. They're not able to see exactly what God had planned out for us and planned out for His children, how beautiful it is and how much He loves us. They don't know how that feels. They don't know what it's about. They only know the part of the, just like I said, there's a good and evil in this world. And so actually the evil, it seems like it's overpowering the good. But in this chapter, God is going to talk, the book of Daniel is going to talk about how God people is going to take over. Okay, the wicked will reign for a certain length of time, but God people is going to come back, and God is the one that's going to do this. All right, so let's start with the first verse. This is Daniel chapter 7. Daniel vision of four beasts. Early during the first year of King Belshazzar reigned in Babylon, Daniel had a dream and saw visions as he lay in his bed. And he wrote down the dream, and this is what he saw. In my dream that night, I, Daniel, saw a great storm churning the surface of the great sea, with strong winds blowing from every direction. Then four huge beasts came up out of the water, each different from one another. The first beast was like a lion with eagle wings. As I watched, its wing was pulled off, and it was left standing with its two hinged feet on the ground, like a human being. And it was given a human mind And then I saw a second beast, and it looked like a bear, and it was roaring up on one side. And it had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. And I heard a voice saying to it, "Get up, devour the flesh of many people." And then the third of these strange beasts appeared. And I looked at it and it looked like a leopard, and it had a bird wing on its back, and it had 4 heads. Great authority was given to this beast. And then in my vision that night, I saw a 4th beast, terrifying, dreadful, and very strong. And it devoured and crushed its victim with huge iron teeth and trampled their remains beneath its feet. And it was different from any of the other beasts, and it had 10 horns. And as I was looking at the horns, suddenly another small horn appeared among them. 3 of the first horn were torn out by the roots to make room for it. And this little horn had eyes like a human eyes and a mouth that was boasting arrogantly. And I watched the throne as the throne were put in place. And the Ancient One sat down to judge. And his clothing was as white as snow. And his hair was like purest wool. He sat on a furious throne with wheels of blazing fire, and a river of fire was pouring out, flowing from his presence. Billions of angels ministering to him. Many millions stood to attend him. And then the court began its session, and the books were opened. And I continued watching because I could hear the little horn boastful speech. I kept watching until the 4th beast was killed and its body was destroyed by fire. And the other 3 beasts had their authority taken from them, but they were allowed to live a while longer. And as my vision continued that night, I saw someone like a son of man coming with the clouds of heaven. And he approached the Ancient One and was led into his presence. He was given authority, honor, and sovereignty over all the nation of the world, so that the people of every race and nation and language would obey him. His rule is eternal. It will never end. His kingdom will never be destroyed. I, Daniel, was troubled by all of what I seen, and my vision terrified me. So I approached one of those standing aside the throne and asked him, "What does all this mean? What is all that meant?" He explained to me just like this. These four huge beasts represents 4 kingdoms that will arise from the earth. But in the end, the holy people of the Most High will be given the kingdom, and they will be ruling forever and ever. We're talking about places here. And then I went to know the truth meaning of the 4th beast. and one so different from the other and so terrifying. It had devoured and crushed its victim with iron teeth and bronze claws, trampling their remains beneath his feet. I also asked about the 10 horns on the fourth beast's head and the little horn that came up afterward and destroyed 3 of the other horns. His horn had seemed greater than the other, and it had human eyes and a mouth that was boasting arrogantly. As I watched, this horn was waging raging war against God and against God's holy people, and was defeating them. It was defeating this little horn. As he said, as I watched, this horn was raging war against God's holy people and was defeating them, just like it is today. Taking away the privilege of the church. They're taking away in some country, they're taking away the Bible. We're talking about, these beasts all over the world. They're talking about different continent, different kingdom. They're taking away Bibles and taking away the religion, the free speech of religion. That's going against the will of God. That's going against God. Whenever you take anything, stop a person from ministering in a church, you stop them from reading a Bible, don't want them to read about Jesus, don't want them to read about God, that you're working against God. And that's when He's going to step in. Okay? People have to understand that. That's working against the will of God. But it says in here, they were raging war against God's holy people and was defeating them. They would take things away from them. They arrested them. They didn't want them to minister. They didn't want them to preach. Just like it's happening here today. I say tonight. Today, well, tonight too. Today, just like it is today in this world system. We are in the end. We're in the end time. Look what's happening. Take a good look at what's happening. People's not reading the Revelation. They're not reading all the prophet Daniel, Habakkuk, Jeremiah, all of those prophets. They was talking about the end time. And it says here, these little beasts was defeating God's holy people. These are people coming out and doing these things against God's people. And until the ancient one, the Most High came and judged. When they start doing that, God came. He stepped in favor of His holy people. And then the time arrived for the holy people to take over the kingdom. The holy people is going to take over the kingdom. And that's what happened. The beast is going to, do all these terrible things to God's holy people. And God is going to get angry. And this is the time. This is His plan. And He said that His holy people is going to take over the kingdom. And then He said to me, this fourth beast is the fourth world power that will rule the earth. So that beast is going to be a world power that will rule the earth. And that's going to rule things in the earth. This is still bound to happen. It would be different from all the others. It will devour the whole world. What is happening now? It's devouring the whole world with all kind of sin. All kind of nasty sin. People don't even know who they are. They saying that they one thing. They're not who God, who they was birthed into this world. And they calling it and they're being so proud of it, like Sodom and Gomorrah. They're doing all kind of sexual trafficking. They're killing the children. Come on now. It's a lot of He devoured the world. They're doing all kind of, they got murderers and rapists and all this stuff is going on, and drinking and partying, and women's out there shaking their butt, and that's all they got to give. They can't give their brains and speak on good things to try to make things happen, but they get in the camera and then shake their butt like they crazy. Nobody want to see that. Talk about something. Talk about how you're going to save this. Help save the earth. Help try to get the family together. Try to get everybody together, because we all brothers and sisters in this world. How to defeat the devourer. But no, you're up there. Oh God, help me, Jesus. And then he said to me, this is the fourth beast, that is the fourth world power that will rule the earth. It will be different from all the others. It will devour the whole world, trampling and crushing everything in its path. Its 10 horns are 10 kings. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will rule that empire. And then the other kings will arise, different from the other 10, who will subdue 3 of them. And he will defy the Most High and oppress the holy people of the Most High God. It was talking in past tense and future tense. That's what he's talking about, past and future. And then he said, and he will try to change their sacred festival and laws. They're going to try to make them think about something else. They're going to try to, put the mark on them so they won't think about God. They won't think about God, the sacred law, the commandment, or anything like that. They're going to try to do things so that they won't think about it, mess with their mind, cause problem, disfigure, dismantle them. This is what it says in here. Try to change their sacred festival and laws, and they will be placed under his control for a times with an S, and half a time. So it's going to be a time, 3 times, time, and half a time. This is not too long, y'all. Everyone, it's not too long. It's near, it's here. He's changing everything. We're talking about Satan and using the people. He's blinding them to make them do the things that he want them to do. The beast is controlled by the dragon. The dragon is Satan. The beast is the kingdom, and the horns are the kings of each kingdom, of each continent, of each states. Okay? And it says here, and then the ancient one, the Most High, came and judged in favor of the holy people. And then the time arrived for the holy people to be taken over the kingdom. And he said to me, this is the fourth beast. Well, I'm going up too far. I'm sorry. I'm just going to keep on reading it. And the fourth world power that will rule the earth, it will be different from the other, and it will devour the whole world, trampling and crushing and everything in its path. And its 10 horns are 10 kings who will rule. Okay, this is what happened. I'm sorry. Who will rule over the world. Going to rule over the world. And we have to understand, Satan is very busy. I remember in 2019, I was telling everybody what God had told me, that Satan is sending out demonic spirits But God was sending out his angels to fight. And he was sending out a whole bunch of them that he had defiled, that he had taken, that he, the people worship him, and here upon this earth, they worship him. And then when they passed away, they became his workers. So he just, he just took them. And so he sent them back spiritually up on the earth to do his work, to devour and take over. And so it says here, he would defy the Most High and oppress the holy people in the Most High, of the Most High, and he will try to change their secure festival and laws, and they will be placed under his control for times and time and a half. But then the court will pass judgment, and all his power will be taken away and completely destroyed. When it said the court, that means God. He's going to take all that away, and he's going to allow things to happen. And then the sovereign power and the greatness of all the kingdom under heaven will be given to the holy people of the Most High. And his kingdom will last forever. We're talking about Jesus. And all rulers will serve and obey him. That was the end of the vision, Daniel said. I, Daniel, was testified by my thoughts, and my face was pale with fear, but I kept these things to myself. And this is what God, he had to write it down. This is what God wanted him. He wanted him to know. He wanted him to write this down and tell my people, this is what's happening. This is what's going to happen. This is what is, Alpha and Omega is the beginning and the end. It's the past and the future. He's putting it all together. This is what's happening today, everyone. All these things that he was talking about is, that how he came and destroyed God's people. They're not able to do anything. They're not able, especially when we got shut down in 2019, they're not able to do anything. And so they're trying to take your freedom of speech, your freedom of, speaking the word of God. They try to take away they was taking away the churches. They suppressed them. And I noticed that the churches is not getting involved with any of things that's going on, because I feel that they had oppressed them. They had censored them. That's why they're not even trying to fight back. Only a few is fighting back, but not all. But I just wanted to let you know, you got to get ready, because time is at hand. And people think, oh, it's going to be a long time. You don't know when God is coming. All these things that was in the Bible is taking place. Everything that is in the Bible is taking place to alter your DNA. All that stuff is taking place that is in the Bible. That's what Satan is doing. He's taking God's people. But God knows the one that love him, knows the one that is fighting for him, as well as they're fighting for themselves. He knows the one that's not going to put up with all the nonsense, with the nastiness of this. They try to put forth in the school with the children and all that. And the abortion, he know the people that is against that. He know their heart. He's going to save us. We are the ones that's going to take over the kingdom. The ancestors, we still here. Our children, we have to teach them the righteous thing. What's going on today, in this world is wrong with a double G. It's wrong and it's not right. And there's so many people is blinded. So many people is blinded. They're blinded by racism. They're blinded. We all got to love one another. We all have to come together. And this is a demonic spirit that you're dealing with. This is not of the flesh and blood. We have to pray. Glory to God. Until the next time, this is Pastor G representing Anointed Ministry of Love and Reach Out for Life. Please read Daniel chapter 7. Read it over. And if you don't understand it, read it again. And if you still don't understand it, let the app read for you. And just ask God to give you the understanding of that chapter. Until the next time, God love you, and so do I. Bye now.